Hey, good morning. How are you guys doing? Let me make sure that the microphone is on and working. Give me a second. Okay, it sounds all good. All right, how you guys doing this morning? Um, yeah, I tried to avoid learning the details about the whole thing with Carmelo Anthony, but of course, um, I was able to, get an understanding pretty much of what happened in that case. But I am familiar with the case with Courtney Klenney. Uh, yeah, yeah. So I'm pretty much, even without knowing all the details, with the whole thing with Carmelo Anthony, I'm pretty much up on what's happened. Same with Nolan Wells. I know pretty much what I need to know. It's just I've been kind of trying to avoid some of these reports because I know how I get. I'm very sensitive. I'm very impulsive. Hey, how you doing, Azure TV? Oh yeah, thanks for what you shared. I just checked in now. Yeah, I'm kind of want to listen to what it is that you had shared on Jonestown. I'm kind of eager to listen. Yeah, especially considering that the interview from the Jonestown survivor looked like it was 2 months ago. Well, at least with that upload that you shared. So yeah, I think I can listen to that. I think I can handle that. But yeah, yeah, some of these reports, these more recent, it's like I can't take it. I can't hear this stuff anymore because it's like every time we think we can just chill, and we're always reminded of where we are, and the world that we live in. Yeah, and I don't always want to be reminded. I sometimes just want to chill, be on the beach, go karting. But we always end up getting reminded of the world that we live in. But that's why it's so great to have faith in the Most High Yahuwah. How you doing, Penizoid? Yeah, I know. I pretty much know more what I need to know. Initially I was doing everything I could, Peninsula, to avoid learning details about the Carmelo Anthony case. I was doing everything I could to avoid. Same with the Nolan Wells. But it's very hard to avoid, especially when everybody's talking about it. And you don't even have to really click into these videos. I mean, the topic titles alone tell me pretty much what I need to know about these cases. Um, okay, you're saying it's an active channel. Okay. Oh, they have conflicted views on Jim Jones. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure they all come to the conclusion that he was evil, right? I mean, forgive me for chuckling, but it's just how I respond. Hmm. Okay. Well, few. Okay, few. Hmm. Okay, black by popular demand. I'll give that consideration. The haplogroups, that I do want to go more into talking about haplogroups. I've been so lazy on that, but see, I know that that's where it's going to require me work. Work like I used to do up in here at least, and in the real world. It's so funny when I was working outside the home, I was putting in more work in doing my videos, editing and everything. That's what's weird. When you would think with me having more time now to edit videos and all of that, I would be putting in more. But gotten actually lazier, at least when it comes to YouTube. Uh, yeah, Yeah, I won. I know I would have to put in more work. I was supposed to. No, you know what caused me to fall off and talking about, in the direction I was going, like in debunking evolution, and then I was going to go from that. I had planned to go into, once I debunked theories of evolution, and did what I could to debunk those theories and have you thinking more towards creation versus evolution. Then I planned on going into, this is what I felt, manner I should have, or the direction or order I should have went in. Then I planned on going into now proving that the Bible is the truth, because I don't want you just believing in the idea of any creator or any deity, or but I had to, that was supposed to be next. And I thought that once I got the debunking evolution, series of videos out of the way, I felt that that was the hard part. But I had got stumbled, and plus certain information, it didn't help, my losing my channel, computer crashing, losing information I gathered. And also, at certain sites I noticed, like there was a DNA tribe site, and that was a really helpful. It made it a lot easier for me to do the videos like that I had planned on doing on haplogroups and all of that. And it's no longer. Oh wait, not just DNA tribes. No, it was another. It was called Haplomaps, haplomaps.com, and they removed it. And I'm like, what, man? And that just kind of really, really threw me off. But yeah, definitely. I think we need to have a better understanding of that. Um, uh, oh my goodness. No, I didn't hear about that. Austin Metcalf's dead. Well, that kind of gives you an idea of, wow, watermelon felon. Why is he even making a joke? If I mean, even in trying to being funny, why would your son is deceased? I couldn't even be thinking of trying to rhyme and be, you know what I'm saying, and get people to laugh or whatever. That just, that it sounds like, if that's what he said, that sounds like he's trying to be funny or trying to get people to laugh. If I lost my child, I couldn't even be thinking about joking. I hate this person or I don't. But I'm not trying to rhyme and make you laugh, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's weird. That's really weird. Wow, Metcalf's dad is on a whole rant on TikTok about how black people are privileged. Oh my gosh, what is with this whole white people? I don't, because it's a very sensitive, I don't want anybody to lose their child. I'm gonna be honest. I do. I would have rather the some a young person, underage person, not being unalived. I'm gonna keep it, even if they are a jerk. I would have rather that not happen. I'm just gonna keep it real, because I still value young lives, even if these, even if even in the case of someone who is a bully, I still look at children as children. Well, it's hard to say, because I know some children can be real evil, but in the case of, I don't want anyone's. I really, really, of course, would have rather that it had not ended with someone, being stabbed. You know. Now, do I believe that the sentencing is just? No, but yeah. What? Some feel that he was misled. Jim Jones? Oh my goodness. That just go to show the brainwashing is still in effect. Oh my gosh. The brainwashing is still in effect. That might disturb me, learning that. Only person I heard kind of talking like that was Jim Jones' adopted black son. And I'm trying. I can kind of understand, because that would have you effed up. A man you saw his father and you loved, but Jim Jones' own biological son did straight disown him. Where it don't, the only black person I saw since then, like kind of sounded like kind of in defense of Jim Jones, was his adopted black son. But I can try to understand, with him. I could try to understand there. Goodness. Yeah, and I know they say that, it's insensitive. I know that it may be insensitive to say don't drink the Kool-Aid. I know Paul Mooney will say it in a minute, as he has, but because it's insensitive to the victims, those who are deceased and still living. But it's like we do need to keep saying this to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because really, don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's a way of saying don't take the poison, don't fall for it, don't, in a way, perhaps we do need to be reminded. We think, because it's crazy to me that something like what happened in Jonestown, this happened when I was a little child, right before starting school in the late 70s. And to know that something like that happened, and this is post so-called Black awareness. This is post, late six. This is after we had the assassinations of Malcolm and Martin, and and you to think that something like that could have happened, And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that I don't see the victims as victims. That's not what I'm saying. Oh my goodness. Kimberly Dutra Arvold. Okay, that name's not familiar. For example, recall her positive Temple's memories as filled with ordinary things, friends. Yeah, okay, if that's her memories, but that, I can understand how, but did she recognize she was deceived with those memories? If those were fun memories, I can't take away them as being fun memories. But all these years later, I'm gonna have to look into that. But I'm so sorry, y'all. How you doing? Warriors are the best. Good morning. You don't feel it's not safe to know what's going on? No, I pay attention to what's going on. It's just, I'm gonna tell you, Warriors are the best. I now see what my uncle was saying to me. I remember when it was the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of 9/11, right? And understand, I'm a person, my mom, she had us up on everything happening in the news and all of that. So, like my mother, I was the same way. And my mother had, she also had the tabloids and stuff. But my mother always, was up on what was going on in the news and had us the same way. But I remember when I was, it was the anniversary of 9/11, and I was with my auntie and uncle at their home. At the time, it was a 1 year anniversary. I was like kind of in the process of, I was considering, relocating and everything. So I was at their house for a minute and trying to get back established in Illinois and Chicago and everything. And considering it, but anyways, it was the 1 year anniversary. And and I remember I was watching all of the report, like CNN, or just watching all the stuff. Like being that it was the anniversary of 9/11, it was like September 11, 2002. And I remember watching, and I was really sad and kind of crying and listening to, the survivors and those who lost loved ones speak, and just them going over what happened. And I remember, my uncle and auntie who were Jehovah's Witness. They were just like in the room, in the bedroom, on the bed, just watching TV, just watching, they like eating popcorn, watching TV. They were like just chilling, watching, like whether it was the crime flicker, just something. My uncle was a Jehovah's Witness elder, and and they're both deceased now. Yeah, my auntie and uncle, and those ones I kind of stayed back and forth when I was a kid. And I was like looking at them like, where they weren't even looking at anything in the news. I'm like, this is the 1 year anniversary. I don't know. That was just really important to me that because that you watch something, just give some sort of acknowledgement to what happened just a year ago. That's how I was really serious about such things. Understand, I had also was a person who was at that time had done doing volunteer work, and just things like that. I was very passionate about and giving attention to. And I was like, how could they just the whole day? They haven't even watched anything on the news, or they haven't, I don't know, because that's just the way I was. And then my uncle was like, yeah, talk to me. because he saw me crying and stuff about it. And he was like, why are you watching this? Why are you? That's how my uncle was. Why do you feel you always got to be for the underdog? Why do you? That's how my uncle would be at me. And he also like kind of shook his head at me and my mama. He loved us, don't get me wrong, but he just did not, felt my mother was just a little. He loved my mama, don't, and my mom respected him. My brother-in-law, they had definitely respect for each other, but my uncle just felt like, I don't know. I guess he felt my mom, that some of the things she did was too depressing for us, or I don't know. But I actually had a fun, cool mom. But yeah, but he was like, "Why do you feel you gotta always be for the underdog?" And he was, yeah, and he was saying how, okay, he was talking to me how the news, how they're doing this to us, how they're playing with our emotions and this and that. And he was, and then at that time, I was like, wow, what's wrong with him? How can he be so cold? How can he be the way he is? How can he be? But I know this sounds crazy. But as I've gotten older and in social media, and got even more so in social media, and these reports over time, especially after I was so jacked up with the Trayvon Martin. And that's what also influenced me to even more so with the whole Tommy Sotomayor. In fact, that's what triggered me to make my initial video addressing Tommy Sotomayor, because he was poking at that. And that had me so messed up, the whole Trayvon Martin thing. And it's like I kind of understand where my uncle is coming from. No, I'm not saying I'm gonna get to a point where I'm cold and stuff, but it is like, when they talk about these news channels like the CNNs and all of that, and when they started becoming kind of more like tabloids and not just reporting the news and sensationalized things, like back in the 90s, like with the Joan Benet Ramsey and the Tanya Harding, and and it just started becoming kind of like they were competing with the Jerry Springers and the talk shows. And it's not about them really caring about the people. It's all, and it's like they want us, and I do realize they want us to stay triggered. If I didn't know better, I think that some of these things are scripted. Some of these reports are scripted. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's sad to say this is reality. And I'm not saying I want to go and totally. Sometimes I do, but it's like, okay, this is something I noticed. Okay, what was the that did it moment? Not just the Trayvon Martin. It was something in the news that happened with a girl, something with a supermarket thing, and somebody got shot. And then, okay, I'll notice they'll give us a report, and you'll get the initial report, and then there's our initial reaction. Like we as Black people, quote unquote Black people, I'm gonna say, we're usually, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. We're saddened, we're disgusted, this, and that. And then like a week later, they'll come and find out, oh yeah, that this Black person, they actually did this. They actually stole something from this. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, the white people are reacting. See, it was justified in this. And then a week later, they'll come. And I'm like, wait. How come they didn't get all this information from the jump? Why are they feeding us little by little? Then you find out that this Black person was a fellow who just came from robbing a bank or something. You understand what I'm saying? It was something like that, but it was with a young person getting unalive. And that was kind of like, you know what? I'm not even for them, because they always, I notice each week or they come with something new. It's every 2 weeks or something new about this person, and then something new that's going to trigger the white folks now, and then there's going to be something new about the report that triggers the Black people again, and then almost like this is a setup. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like with that whole brick lady wrote I knew that something was off with that, and I still feel as if that was a psyops. That's why I knew from the jump. And it's not saying that it wasn't about me being insensitive to women, and more specifically Black women being abused. Like that couldn't happen with a woman. Look, I'm a person who survived, something bad happening to me, such as, okay, I would have rather been hit in the face with a brick when considering what happened to me. But I felt with that, I felt like it was a psyop, and I kind of knew that there would be more. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, cynical one. I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get used to your new image. Cool though. Talking crap about Black women, but end up getting deleted by your ex-wife. Oh yeah, so let me get into this. leaded by your white ex who ended up getting a slap on the wrist as a result. Yeah, yeah, let me go ahead and talk on this. So don't take it as me. Trust me. Do not take it as me. Oh, I just now want to be in la la. Just like, and around that same time, I had told people I can't talk. When I decided, you know what, I'm not going to be following. I'm not going to learn the details about Ahmaud Arbery. I still don't know. I just believe he was a jocker that got unalive. Why? If I'm like this, if I can't stop this ish from happening, why do I keep needing to know the details about this stuff? Why do I keep needing to, you know what I'm saying, and going crazy? What am I going to do? I'm not going to just get all angry and disgusting mad unless I know that something can be done about this. You understand what I'm saying? Unless I know that this could be stopped next time. Otherwise, no, I'm not finna start I'm not finna go crazy no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let this drive me crazy. I've been through enough. And you gotta understand too, I'm a person, with my own personal tragedies, like with my own brother and stuff. I've been through enough. I just found a letter yesterday, ironically, because I had a situation where our closet collapsed and we had to, fix it, the closet rail. And so all my stuff and letters from my mom and family members that I had, and I haven't looked in for years, and some I didn't look at. They flew out, so I had to gather some of these letters, and I found a letter, and I'm afraid to even tell my family about it, from my brother, my late brother, that was to my mother. Yeah, obviously, it was from my brother. He was in jail, and it was to my mother, and this was not long before he died, and I'm afraid even. I was like, do I tell my family about this letter? Or no, I don't think I will. But he was telling my mom, like, this is just like a year before she died, and he died 1 year after my mom. And he's telling my mom to make funeral arrangements. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, she just hit my, like, he knew that his time was near. And he was asking my mother in this letter, are you making funeral arrangements? Like, he knew that. And I'm just telling y'all now. I don't know if my niece is listening, because I haven't even told Tasha. I haven't told anybody. I don't know if she knows about this. I don't know where this letter, but it was from my brother to my mother. So I don't know if anybody else had read it. I don't recall reading this before. I just got a lot of the letters. I was looking through my sister's letter and everything. And yeah, he was talking like he knew that. And he was saying how he hated Satan, the devil, and yeah. And so I just told myself, yeah, and I'm with my grandchild. I just told myself, you know what? My brother's resting now. My brother is resting. And my brother, as I shared with you guys, he passed under he was under, police custody and in some very suspicious circumstances. As I've explained to you guys, being found deceased in his cell, even though they claimed 24. Oh yeah, and this happened. I found out on 9/11, 2 years after the 9/11 tragedy. So, yeah, but it come to find out he actually was deceased December 10th, although they said he was taken to the hospital December 11th. So, yeah, there's some questionable stuff with my brother's passing, especially considering what people said and that they believe that he was unalive, like poisoned with something. Yeah. But yeah, so why would so please don't think that it is a thing of me not caring. Okay? It's only so much any person can take. And I'm like this, it's pissing me off. Really. I'm getting really tired of every time I look up. I know basically what's going on in this world. I know what is. So we don't always, and I'm going to advise y'all, don't always be so quick to learn the details or click into these reports. You understand? Now, if it's at a point where we know something can be done about this, then yeah, because that's how I am. I'm not trying to hear. So what I'm gonna do about it? What am I gonna do? Now, there's a time where I feel I have a duty, like when I learned the with the Uber driver lady that things weren't quite reported as originally in the footage. So I felt I had a duty there, but that was difficult as hell. in putting that video together that I did. Because I had to listen to that woman beg for her life over and over. Please, sir, please, sir. That messed me up. What? What are you talking about Exoticals channels? Exoticals more focused on Exoticals United. When have you heard me talk about? When you hear me talk about, if you notice, when I talk about Exoticals, Cynthia G, Tommy, if you notice, I only use them as metaphors. Golden Sphere. Whenever I need to talk about, let's say, black men bashing black women, all I got to do is say Tommy Sotomayor. Do I know what Tommy Sotomayor is talking about right now? Absolutely not. I don't know. He could be back in YouTube for all I know. I have no idea what Tommy Sotomayor is talking about right now. But I'll still say it's like a way of saying they become metaphors. Same with the Golden Sphere. Although I have been peeking something, because something was brought to my attention. Very, very interesting what's happening. Yeah, so I know about the whole Golden Sphere versus Mulatto Sphere going on. Because that, I was tipped off a couple of weeks ago or something. Obviously my name's still getting mentioned and stuff. But by someone unexpected. That's what's interesting on one of their panels. But but even with that, like, and on the Exotical Sphere, yeah, I see, I see that they got that like bot channel back, but they're played out now. They may have been the tea or the piping tea or whatever, a couple of years ago. Golden Sphere sold 2022, to be honest. And the Exotical Sphere, they're late and they're not even interested no more. Like, even if I peek over there, ain't nothing. Right. Come on now. You know the intentions. And I think I have an idea who that was. And I think that person, I think it's that, never mind. I think I know who that person was. I left a post in my, that's why I don't know if you saw it in my community tab. If I don't know about it, don't tell me about it. But, yeah, of course you're gonna get curious, duh. If you feel somebody watching you, then you go, you gonna be watching them at least peeking. Okay, what's this about? But no, it's yeah, of course. You feel it's like I remember with Cynthia G, and I had a subscribe for everything, but then I was being told, yeah, she talking about, like they told me Young Pharaoh talking about what you just talked about last week. So then I was like, next thing I found myself looking, like, and I was seeing what they were saying. Oh my gosh, this chick is really a biter. So then when you know somebody, and it was irking it, like, why is she doing this? Like, taking just what I was talking about last week. And so when you know somebody watching you, I've been watching you, watching me. The only person. Now, I will say, if there's a person I do peek on, it is Tariq Nasheed. And speaking of, I don't know why, but I do be feeling like, what do you got to say? I think because that was a tough one. Because this channel, he was a person I did want to keep following, listening to. That was a tough one. But I'm seeing what the FBA stuff is talking about. Oh yeah. Speaking of. I saw a thumbnail. I just saw a thumbnail. I didn't click into the video, but I saw a thumbnail with somebody saying what's going on with Young Pharaoh. And it had a thumbnail. He had like fingernails or something. And I wanted to click in and just post, but I knew I would need to listen to the video, and I didn't feel like listening. I wanted to just post, what you think going on? Mind Control Ultra, M. Coon Ultra. Shoot, what you think going on? Like, duh. But yeah, I saw a thumbnail. Somebody, I don't know who channel, but I saw a thumbnail. What's going on with Young Pharaoh? And it looked like he had like long fingernails or something, like leopard fingernail. Like, yeah, I've been calling it out years ago on Young Pharaoh. Hold on. Did I lose the channel? No, I think it was on this channel, on my other channel. I've been calling it out. Dude, His bodyguard was a handler. Shoot. What you say? What? I don't what? What you mean I don't? It got too out of control and dangerous. What? What got dangerous and out of control? Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all like, when is she gonna get on the subject? Why does she do this every time? Why does she? And I don't know how y'all hang in here with me. I really don't, because I would be like, I know when I click in a video live stream, the person don't get to the subject, that be irking the heck out of me, and then I do the same thing. So I'm sorry about that, but it is what it is over here. You know how I am. It takes me a minute anyway to get warmed up, especially when I'm responding on impulse, but to these things, as always now. But yes, I do know. Wait, come on now. Oh, you'll give me a little credit. Come on. We got some monarchs and stuff all up in here. We got some straight monarchs, if you will, all up in here. We gotta find a better word than monarch. They all up in here. Y'all, you don't believe me because they seem so intelligent and this and that. We got M. Coon agents all up in here. Shoot, y'all think I'll be playing? Y'all think I'm just being funny? No, this is real. Well, okay, I'm sorry, y'all. All right, so I've just heard. Okay, how many minutes in? I always say I'm a timestamp, but well, YouTube got it now. I believe they just automatically timestamp, summing up your video and everything. You know, they do the timestamp for you if you know how to. I'm still learning, even though I've been up in here for years. But yes. Now, Courtney Klenney, the whole case with Courtney Klenney, if you remember, she had the boyfriend, the black boyfriend. Let me just go. Okay, reading from CBSNews.com. This was just updated yesterday. It's 10/20/26. Former OnlyFans model Courtney Klenney sentenced to 6 years for manslaughter in stabbing death of boyfriend in 2022. Former OnlyFans model Courtney Klenney has been sentenced to 6 years. Yeah, that's surprising. In prison after pleading guilty to manslaughter and the stabbing death of her boyfriend after accepting a plea deal. Klenney will also serve 5 years of probation as part of her sentence. The former OnlyFans model was accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death inside a Miami apartment in 2022. Klenney appeared inside a Miami courtroom on Monday morning where she accepted the deal, which including her pleading guilty to manslaughter with a deadly weapon. She had previously been charged with second-degree murder. Upon her release, she will have to undergo a mental health evaluation and treatment, as well as a substance abuse evaluation and treatment. In addition, Klenney will not be allowed to benefit financially from this case. This deal comes after the stabbing death of Christian Obumseli in April 2022. Now, you see he's a black man here, but he is of direct Nigerian descent. I believe he was born in the United States, but his parents, I believe, were Nigerian. Okay, and I'm only pointing that out because people, how people are making this, because I can see with Tariq Nasheed's thumbnail, and that's something I want to talk about too. People are making this into yeah, because understand that this guy who was unalived by Klenney, her boyfriend, he was what also led to some controversial discussions was he was in social media. He had left posts, I believe, in social media that were really putting down black women. Like, yeah. Then, we've had another case like this as well, where, a young man was unalived by police officers who, but his comments have been highlighted. And, there are some people say, oh, this is something Nigerian men do, or this ain't something FBA men do. And I'm like, because I see that Tariq Nasheed has a video coming up on this, and that's why I also want to talk about what I see in his thumbnail. Because I'm like, don't even go there. Don't even go there. I hope he don't even try to go there. Because I noticed that he's saying Nigerian. He's pointing out, making sure to point out Nigerian and not just a black man. Because, you know, as I would have expected him to do a couple of years ago. All right. Again, this plea deal comes after the stabbing death of Christian Obaseli in April 2022. And understand, yeah, from the details on that, yeah, she really, it was very bloody. You understand? This wasn't just a thing of, oh, get away from me, and she just stabbed him. And no, this was a thing of where obviously she repeatedly like stabbed, you know, and I believe he was also like stabbed in the neck. And this wasn't necessary. This was not a thing, I don't believe, of a thing of him being abusive and she had to defend herself, or as I believe. Days after he was killed, Klenney was arrested in Hawaii and charged with second-degree murder. She claimed it was self-defense because he was abusive. Her attorney also previously claimed that she threw the knife to protect herself. However, the attorney for Obumseli's family said that couldn't have been true. Both attorneys addressed those claims back in 2024. It shows the court that our client is in fact credible. Her self-defense is credible, and the action she took that night was necessary to save her own life, Klenney's attorney Frank Prieto said. Attorney Larry Hanfield disagreed. That's inconsistent with common sense, he said. There's no way that you would, if you throw a knife, that the knife is going to land so deep in a downward position. So she was stabbing down. Okay. Although this man is taller than her. Klenney's parents were previously charged with illegally hacking into Obumseli's computer. Oh my gosh, I didn't hear about that. Hold on. This is my first time reading this here. Wow, I didn't hear about this though. Klenney's parents were previously charged with illegally hacking into Obumseli's computer, but those charges were later dropped. Wow. Video of a previous confrontation between, wait, when was this? What if, oh, okay, never mind. Video of a previous confrontation between Obumseli and Klenney months before his death was shown in court. Now, I do recall seeing this. And evidence released since Klenney's arrest painted a troubling relationship between the two. Yeah, I do recall, correct me if I'm wrong, there were these videos of her like being at least verbally abusive towards him. Like she was more of the aggressor. At the end of July, Klenney's lawyers announced a plea agreement was reached as the case was moving closer to a trial. Last week, the attorney for Obumseli's family released a statement in response to the deal, saying in part, pleading guilty and accepting full responsibility will begin the process of bringing closure to a very tragic, life-changing event for the Obumseli family. So this was just posted yesterday from CBSnews.com. And so she will be sentenced, and taking this plea, she will be sentenced to only 6 years. However, in the case of Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, now Karmelo Anthony is the young black man you see on the left. Austin Metcalf is the white young male who is now deceased. Now, Karmelo Anthony is a 19-year-old from Frisco, Texas, who was convicted of red rum murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison for the April 2025 fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during a high school track meet. But his legal team is currently seeking a new trial. Okay, so, and just for the knowing, let's get a little more detail on this whole thing with Karmelo Anthony. And yeah, and that's also for myself. Let me click on this in the murder of. Now, it says on April 2nd, reading from Wikipedia, 2025, Austin Metcalf, a 17-year-old student, the Caucasian young man, at Memorial High School was murdered by Karmelo Anthony, a Centennial High School student of the same age, while attending a school track meet in Frisco, Texas, United States. Anthony stabbed Metcalf after an altercation, and Metcalf died of his injuries. Anthony was arrested soon after the stabbing, was charged with murder. He pled not guilty, asserting self-defense. On June 9th, 2026, Anthony was found guilty of murder at trial and sentenced to 35 years in prison by the jury. The case was subject of national public attention, and viral social media posts emphasize the races of the perpetrator, who is black, and the victim, who is white. Now, it says, okay, and going into what happened. Now, before this, Carmelo Anthony, he had no criminal record, or I don't recall from what I've learned. But understand, now this case, I can't say I know every little detail of. So this is my first time really reading. I know basically what happened, and I did finally look at your first. My husband was trying to show me. I didn't want to really see, but then I went on watched. It was a video of him, like, kind of being chased. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony, that is. Okay, now the incident, it reads here in Wikipedia. The stabbing occurred at a track meet at the Memorial High School tent in David Kuykendall Stadium at approximately 10 a.m. on April 2nd, 2025. The altercation started when the track and field championship event was delayed due to thunderstorms and heavy downpours. Due to the rain, every team except for Anthony's high school had set up a tent. One of Anthony's teammates testified that he and other members had sought shelter from the rain at a nearby excuse me, guys, at the nearby baseball dugout until a baseball coach told them to leave. According to witness testimony, Anthony was called over to the Memorial High School tent by Memorial student Eddie Parra. Parra and Anthony had a friendly interaction for about 5 minutes. Hunter Metcalf, Austin's twin brother, approached Anthony and asked him to leave the tent. Austin then confronted Anthony. During the argument that ensued, Anthony allegedly said, "Touch me and see what happens," while reaching his hand into his backpack. According to witnesses, Metcalf responded, "You don't have anything in that backpack. It's Frisco," before allegedly grabbing Anthony to move him. One witness quoted Metcalf as telling Anthony, "I'm not going to fight you at the track meet." Another witness in Frisco police arrest report stated Austin and Anthony went back and forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed Anthony to get him out of the tent. In response, Anthony pulled out a black knife from the backpack and stabbed Metcalf once in the chest before running away. After being stabbed, Metcalf ran down the bleachers, grabbing his chest and telling those around him to get help. When police arrived, he was neither conscious nor breathing, and athletic trainers were performing chest compressions on him. Austin Metcalf was pronounced dead minutes after arriving in the hospital. According to the arresting officer, when told to keep his hands in the air, Anthony said, "I was protecting myself." The affidavit states he was emotional and crying hysterically after he was arrested. The officer then communicated to others that he had the alleged suspect in custody, to which Anthony responded, "I'm not alleged. I did it." As he was being escorted to the police car, Anthony reported, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." While he was sitting in the back seat of the police car, he asked Metcalf, "Is he going to be okay?" and asked the officer if what he did could be considered self-defense. Okay. Now the aftermath. The courts approved Anthony moving to an undisclosed location due to safety concerns in the pretrial period. According to the Next Generation Action Network, or NGAN, a nonprofit organization working with Anthony's family, the move was precipitated by an alarming increase in death threats, continuing harassment, and physical intimidation targeted at him and his family's home. Metcalf's mother and father both had their homes swatted, with one such incident resulting in a SWAT team showing up to them. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to. Okay. Now, is there something that's left out here? Is there something? Okay, opening statements going into the trial began on June 4th with Collin County District Attorney Bill Worskey stating the killing was provoked unjustified murder, in which Anthony had provoked Metcalf to touch him, and that Metcalf pushed and shoved before Anthony stabbed him in a sneak attack using a concealed knife. Worst guy stated the case does not concern race or self-defense. The defense attorney, Michael Howard, stated that there are varying accounts of what occurred before the stabbing and that Anthony was seated when confronted by Metcalf and his brother Hunter. He stated it was Metcalf who first made contact and that Anthony reacted in a split second of fear and chaos as the group was turning on him. Howard argued that Anthony was defending himself. Jurors were then shown grainy surveillance camera footage of the incident, which prosecutors said showed Metcalf pushing Anthony. I didn't see that. I don't know if I saw that. Which prosecutors said showed Metcalf pushing Anthony and then Anthony exiting after stabbing Metcalf. I kind of don't want to see that. Wait, what was I shown? A coach from Memorial High School then testified that it was unusual for a rival teammate to be seated in another school's tent as Anthony was before Metcalf confronted him. Jurors also heard testimony from a coach from Liberty High School who viewed the aftermath of the stabbing as well as heard 911 emergency calls following the stabbing and viewed Metcalf's bloodstained jacket. The defense asked the Liberty High School coach if it was normal for students from different schools to converse and ask where athletes warming up would seek shelter. Students who were under the tent during the stabbing testified on June 5th. A student witness stated that people, including Metcalf, had confronted Anthony and asked him to leave the tent, to which Anthony allegedly said, "Touch me and find out," and kept his hands in his backpack, warning that he had something. Witnesses estimated Anthony was asked to leave as many as 15 times. The witnesses said that they did not try to gang up on Anthony and that the exchange lasted about 2 minutes. Multiple students labeled Anthony as the aggressor and that he had entered the tent to escape the rain. The defense's cross-examination focused on discrepancies between the students' testimony and the account they initially provided to law enforcement. They further established a physical difference between Anthony and Metcalf, with the latter being 50 to 60 pounds, okay, heavier, okay, the white kid bigger, and emphasized Metcalf's and several others' position over Anthony, who is seated. First responders, including a paramedic and the school resource officer who arrested Anthony, gave testimony as well. The defense's case started on the afternoon of June 5th after the prosecution rested. The defense called Anthony's coach, who testified that it was not unusual for athletes from different schools to share tents, and a Frisco Memorial student gave a different account of the confrontation, saying Metcalf grabbed Anthony before the stabbing. However, under cross-examination, he stated Anthony had provoked him. A police officer testified that carrying a 5-inch knife is not unlawful in Texas, even though it is against school policy. The defense rested on June 8th, with Anthony not being called to testify. Closing arguments occurred on June 9th. The jury found Anthony guilty of murder after 3 hours of deliberation. The verdict was announced at 1:35 p.m. on June 9th. The jury rejected the sudden passion claim and sentenced him to 35 years in prison. On June 10th, the day following the verdict and sentencing, Anthony was transferred to the custody of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and transported to the Wallace Pack Unit in Navasota, Texas. He filed notice to appeal his conviction. Under Texas law, Anthony is eligible for parole after serving half his sentence, or 17 and a half years. All right. So let me see what you guys are saying. Because I understand this is the first time you knowing really all of this detail on it. Let me see what you guys are saying. Your funny words are the best. Let me see. You said there was another Black American man who used to disrespect Black women online, and his goodness, another case. Goodness, you got to be kidding me. Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, when you consider, what this nation was established on. Oh, really? Okay, Venezuela, you say Carmelo Anthony saved a kid when he was young. Oh, really? No, I mean, there's some things it's going to be impossible for me to avoid not knowing something about. Now, Austin Metcalf's friend's dad said he was a bully who got into fights all the time. Really? His dad, you're saying that Austin Metcalf's friend's dad, okay, his friend's dad said that the kid was and as a friend of his dad, but he said that Austin Metcalf himself was a bully? Wow. It's hard. Of course, I would not have wanted it to end with someone being, like I just, only thing is like I couldn't you have stabbed him. I mean, sometimes you're just not thinking, and when you're scared, like in the leg. I just, because I do value life. I do value, especially when we're talking about people who are underage, because there are some jerks, but I'm not at a point like some of these people, like with the reaction, despite I do question some things with the whole George Floyd thing altogether. But if I'm to totally believe what we saw and was shown, I don't believe there's some people think, oh, if you stole something, you deserve to die. If you no, I'm not. No, absolutely not. If you're a drug addict, you deserve to die. There are some people that's just so desensitized to life. I don't believe just because you're a jerk, you know. So I do wish that it wouldn't have ended in someone dying, and a young person. And I don't mean to sound, you understand, but at the same time, you know, so I'm not saying that I see Carmelo Anthony necessarily as a murderer, but I just okay, the news is not going to tell you the real story. You're going to always have, oh, I know this. But being that I might be a little too late, because usually I'm the type, I go with how it was first. I first, just like with the Uber driver lady, how it was first reported. Because you'll notice, and this was something I definitely noticed with a lot of these cases, the way things were first initially reported. And then you'll see how things change up and what witnesses were first and foremost, the first reactions, what was first said. And that's not always right either. It all depends on the source, too. Okay, you saying self-defense. You should have started. Yeah, so you gotta understand what I'm reading now is what's now in Wikipedia. So, there's no telling how, I'm pretty sure there's much that I missed out on. You should have started by reading the appeal if you want to know the truth and skip all this nonsense. Yeah, I'm just, just for this live stream, go straight to the appeal. Disregard that article you're reading. Yeah, what I was reading actually just from Wikipedia there. Disregard the article you're reading. Listen to Carmelo's lawyers. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, young Pharaoh's glitching big time. Hey, shorty, womp womp. Dang, the twins were over 6 foot tall. Looking at this picture here, wow. So this boy was over 6 foot tall and 200 pounds. Karmelo was 5'5", and oh my goodness. This boy here, you're saying over 6 foot pounds and 6 feet tall and 200 pounds. Really? I could not see this at least in this picture I'm looking at here. Right, right. That's how, going by what I have just learned and understand. I learned on this very late, and I'm just for the first time reading this in detail. Because I ain't gonna lie, I've been kind of purposely, not because I don't care. That's the thing. I care too much, and that's, and that's the thing. It's really the opposite. And I don't want to, because I'm the type, I'll be looking into this, investigating. No, 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 because I feel like I got to convince people that, how I am. I go into my lawyer mode, and I get like how I did. You know me, shorty. It's not a thing of me not caring. I get to you. Next thing you know, you will see 50 videos in a row. when I get passionate on these things, and when I feel I need people to hear this side of it, because and I'm trying not to get too caught up. Yeah, the Nolan. I'm not even trying. I know I got the gist of what happened. Okay, this is all I know about the Nolan Wells. I guess he was with. Okay, he was a black kid. I'm also seeing people referring to him as mixed. I guess his mom was like Filipina or something. But you know about the indigenous, so he's pretty much black. Indigenous, but okay, that doesn't matter. He's a black kid. Okay, he was a kid, and he was with some white kids, and I guess it's being reported that he may have accidentally drowned, but it's believed that he did not accidentally drown. Am I correct on the Nolan Wells? I'm not even trying to. I can't. And what people are saying, these warnings of you being that one black token friend, being careful. So this is what black people are, what my people trying to bring to our attention. Okay, let me see. It said Pinazoy said also cheerleaders complained that the twins, and you're talking about Austin Metcalf and his twin brother, who I believe they said his name is Hunter, right? The twins have harassed them. Wow, cheerleaders complained that the twins have harassed them and wrote to 3 different school districts about it. Wow. Yeah, and if, especially if they are white, what would they have to gain about lying about these guys? Especially if they're white. So there's got to be something, man. Hey, Silky Slim. Mm. They charged Karmelo with first-degree murder as if it was premeditated. Yeah, 35 years. And he ain't even, let me see, has he yet turned 18? Now that, despite what I do feel that sentencing, that was kind of surprising to hear. Yeah, he's not even, let me see, how old is Karmelo now? Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Carmelo Anthony, okay. Okay, so he is, or he was. Hold on, let me see. Oh wait, well he's going here. Oh, he's almost 20. Okay, so he was. Well, he's now 18. Wait. Okay, so, but he's okay. When I'm saying conflicting with his age, because going by, if he was born in 2007, he's going on 20. Okay, well, anyways, still young though. Still, a kid. Uh, mm. Right. And that's just the motherly instinct, I mean, I feel anybody, yeah, I value human life. I do. I do. But you see, this is the thing though. We gotta call out the hypocrisy though, considering how, like, when we could, on their part. Now I consider human life, but I remember the response with Zimmerman. He was so scared, even though the police told him to stay, don't follow the kid, stop following him. He continued to follow him. You know, Nobody considered fight or flight when it came to Trayvon Martin. And where did this happen again? With this Carmelo? This also happening in the South. This happening in Texas versus Florida. These very same Caucasian people made excuses for, and this kid was not, he was just going to the store, minding his business. And even after Zimmerman was told to not stop following him, he disobeyed the law enforcement. I got to look at that. So they, see, I actually value human life, even of a jerk. They had no, and that was a kid. Trayvon Martin was a kid. It pisses me off even thinking about the way. And then even the women. And this is a guy who had it, unlike Karmelo, he had multiple mug shots. And you got a predominantly pretty much all female jury. And they had no motherly instinct. They could not see that as a child. That's when I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to talk also about white women and racism. I'm not just going to be focusing on white men. I said, that was, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that I didn't acknowledge white women and their racism before. But I thought they would at least have some sort of motherly instinct. They couldn't see that as a child. I remember they were telling me, like, even at the message phone, like, Nasheed, you don't understand. They just like how they were talking about Emmett Till, Carolyn Bryant, that N-word man, couldn't see that as a child. Couldn't see it as a child. So I'm not trying to hit them. They had no value for him. See, I value human life. Ooh, it's getting me stirred up. Yeah, Nolan, you can see. And even so, when you look at the indigenous, like I said, you look at the indigenous Filipino people, because Lennon Honor's mom is the same thing. If y'all seen Lennon Honor, he showed a picture of his mom. And she could and she's Filipina. She could have passed black. Because she's more, indigenous looking Filipina. Not saying that she's not mixed herself, but Lennon Honor's mom. So then you put that with a black person, you pretty much, you got a more indigenous looking Filipina. They mate with a black person, and you pretty much have a black child. But I don't even know I just saw with somebody video or that he was being described that way. Who was it? Probably one of these FBAs. So I'm like, why is that even a focus? Yeah, I hear you. I know some people think that we might be being, but I'm with you. Yeah, I just feel, I gotta steal why in the chest. You know what I'm saying? Why stab in the chest? But I don't know the circumstances. I don't know. All I know is white folks made hypocrisy though, and they responded. Now, if it's the parents of this boy and them pointing this out, okay. But white people in general, they need to shut their mouth after how they responded en masse to the whole thing with Trayvon Martin, particularly those in the South. It was self-defense. Self-defense. You're following somebody who's not even following you, who's minding their business. I don't give a damn if he was getting the Skittles and the iced tea to make lean. I could give less than a damn. He was minding his business. I don't give a damn if he had a picture of him holding up his middle finger. I don't give a damn if he had got suspended for smoking in the boys' room. Who gives a shit? He was minding his business. He didn't deserve. So they could be quiet and talking about, privilege in this country. Are you kidding me? Oh, goodness. That man Zimmerman had multiple mugshots. And even after, and see, people didn't talk about, in the case of Zimmerman, that, because I know all the details on that now. But I got even more beliefs with that. Like he wasn't alone. But anyways, with Zimmerman, he had just like got into it with his woman. So he was looking. He was looking to hurt someone he knew he could get away with harming. People he had just there's a lot that they didn't. A lot of people don't know still, even in the Zimmerman versus Trayvon Martin case. He was 17. Wait, but hold on. If he's 19 now. But no, this just happened this year, though, right? Unless they're not telling the truth about when he was born. Saying they were both 17 when it happened. But this just happened this year. They're saying what I'm saying because they're saying that this. Okay. It also depends on his birthday. They're saying that he was born Carmelo Anthony in 2007. I mean, April. Oh, okay. Okay, wait. Oh gosh, I'm still confused. Yeah, people don't think that race don't play a part, and definitely it's these reactions even more so that pisses me off. The hypocrisy. I trust me. I still believe that at that time, Silky Slim. I know better now. I know better now. I remember I was like in the mess one, and they had to like Nasheed, you don't get it, do you? Right. But I do look at him checking, is he okay? I mean, he automatically owned up to what he did, but it did seem like at least going by what I read. Oh wait, I did see a video where it was something after I just saw a video where he was running away. My husband at first I didn't want to look at it, and he was asking. I did hear him crying, like, "Is he okay?" And it did sound like yes, he was sincerely. That's the one video I did see. It did sound like Karmelo was like really concerned, unless y'all believe that was an act, or you know, like he realized oh man, I might have went too far. They're saying Hunter Metcalf, his brother's the aggressor, and that Austin intervened for his brother. Oh, that's something. Wait, are you sure it happened in 2025? Wait. Really? Okay, let me look at this again. Oh, it did. Wait, what? Oh, I'm looking at it now. It does say I did read on April 2nd, 2025. Wow. Okay, so it's just, oh, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, but it was just this year that we're learning about it, right? Oh, goodness. You see, hold on. Do we got a troll up in here? Yo, is there a troll up in here? Because I'm seeing something. I think I gotta take care of something here. Hey, you gotta take out the trash. All right, y'all. Okay. Thanks for correcting me on the whole thing with the date. Oh, okay. I think I beat you to it, Black by Popular. I think I think I got. Oh wait, you don't have a wrench, do you? I think I got it. I think I got it. Oh yeah, shorty walk up. Yeah, let me get you wrench you up, whether you like it or not. Wait, why is it not showing your wrench that you have one? It says you're moderated, but okay. Oh, they're not using the wrench anymore. Okay, hold on. But I'm giving it to you now. Black by popular demand. Yeah, see somebody trying to provoke up in here. Who you talking to? A little uninformed because you're believing in the news a little too much. Who said I'm believing? I'm just going by what I'm learning as of now. I'm not saying that what y'all saying ain't true or right. I gotta just go by what I know as of now. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, 16. Yeah, I just learned about this 16 months ago. Really? This was in the news? This whole incident was in the news. I mean, nationwide and not just locally. This was, in the news last 16 months ago. Really? I'm talking, nationally. Not just locally, not just like in that city or state, before that city or state. Y'all could be right. Yeah, I've been kind of out of the loop on certain things. Yeah, it's just too much. It's too much. The Metcalf's Fred's dad went on Hotel Jesus podcast and called him a little starter who always pick fights with people. Wow. So what people are talking about also, I believe I may look into that. But it's like I don't want to get so angry. But yeah, this is like you see this right here. Someone has a video. Yeah, this is what people are talking about. How is it? Now, I do recall certain details on the whole thing with Chris Obumseli and Courtney Klenney unaliving him, the OnlyFans. And she took a plea, and she's got 6 years, and he's got 35 years. He's got 6 times 6 years. Pretty much. She got 6 years. He's got 6 times 6 years. Although it is and there's a video of her being, I recall, being an aggressor with her black boyfriend. Okay. Yeah. And they're talking about the obvious. And then this clearly, definitely a grown woman. All right. This was an adult. And people are talking about, where's the outrage from like white America? People are pointing out the double standard because they're always trying to convince us that racism doesn't exist and that all of a sudden they are the victims and our people are the more privileged and it's so crazy. It's so funny. The same people who taunt us as playing victim, they are whining more than any other. That go to show they couldn't go through nearly what our people have experienced. There is no way they would totally collapse because if they think they are being victimized today in the same manner or to the same degree, that goes to show that, oh my gosh, because it's coming. Just as we had to, pay for our ancestors, it's coming. It's already it's gone in effect. This is something I noticed with all these other groups of people. Just like when I confronted with certain members of the Golden Sphere affiliates, the very same people who claim that we're crying and playing victim are doing the most crying. Want to call people, whether they're saying colorism, crybabies, or whatever. I see that they can't take it. As soon as they think they're exposed, their picture put out there, they go disappear, change the channel name, all that. But want to talk about other people, the very same people who will taunt people. You see how they're playing victim? They're all crying about how they under the whip and all this stuff. Like what? Very same people who are having a ball taunting people as us as playing victim. These are the main people crying victim and want you to see and of all people, and we are supposed to believe the most victimized person of all people are white men. Ain't that something? White men. We went from the idea of white male privilege to the white victim. They are the most persecuted. And that, you know what, that mentality, them taking on that mentality, and they're embracing it. They want to be seen as victims. They want to be seen as victims so bad. They don't even want white people speaking on their behalf. They want Candace Owens. They want a black woman who is on the total opposite end of the totem pole. They feel more comfortable with her saying it and speaking on their behalf and being a hero and cheerleader for them. That's how pathetic it has gotten. They'd rather hear her than Nick Fuentes or one of their own people to be their spokesperson and cheerleader and advocate for them and fight for Charlie Kirk and all of them. That's how pathetic it's became. Because they are the victim. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. He's whining about Candace not coming on this show. I mean, he's a plant. He's a plant. They got Candace Owens. She just doing all this for. Yeah, she's their leader now. This is pathetic. This I know. And see, all that they had from the GI benefits, all of that. If it ain't been passed down, if their grandparents and stuff didn't pass down the homes that they owned, there is nothing any longer in place. So they just, But yeah, of course, as we know, there's still the racial profiling and examples of unfair sentencing. But other than that, there is no extra privilege. Maybe they are, perhaps they are still most likely to be hired and least likely to be fired. True that. But they're not controlling much anymore. So if they can't deal with this, they show, oh my gosh. No, I mean, I'm not offended. I'm just, I'm not offended. I'm just letting you know. It's no. If I'm not uninformed, I am uninformed on this case. Yeah, because I haven't. But I know the thing is what I'm saying is that I know enough of what I need to know. You know what I'm saying? And even in reading that, there's certain things y'all brought to my attention that okay, but still, I still come to the conclusion I would have not wanted it to result in, a young man's life being lost. But yeah, I'm not about to be. Because I did see, who is that? Judge Joe Brown. Because ain't they saying that Judge Joe Brown, he's like he called Carmelo Anthony. This thing's about Judge Joe Brown. It's very like he just called him a thug or something. Is that just an exaggeration of a thumbnail or something? But if that's his opinion, that's his opinion. I do feel like I would, it's because I got to look at his situation now versus what could have been. Is it worth it? Yeah, I could tell. But I'm telling you, that I see these FBAs. Period. I noticed the MAGA, the misogyny, all that goes hand in hand. So I'm not surprised. There's certain things with Judge Joe Brown, yeah. But yeah, so people are yeah. Now what I have to question, speaking of, yeah, because I'm looking, now I will say I peek in on the Tariq Nasheed, see what the FBA is on. I guess because he got the biggest mic, it seems, in what is considered quote unquote black YouTube. You know, I think, and Candace Owens got the biggest mic in white YouTube. This is crazy. Makes no sense, but she is the biggest. Oh, let me stop. Let me stop. But I'm looking at this picture here. Okay, wait. Yeah, he's supposed to be doing the stream, I guess. I'm looking at this picture here. Like, I was like, wait a minute. Did she really do this? Is this AI? So I had to look up. Like, is she really doing this symbolism here? Is she really doing this gesture with a smirk on her face? So I had to look it up. So like, why he, got her. Notice he said she killed her Nigerian boyfriend, and he's gonna probably go into. I can already imagine he's gonna go into, and you can thank me later. I'm bringing him more views, but he already got the views. So yeah, he's gonna go into her Nigerian boyfriend. So all the stuff that he said online, he's gonna make this a thing because it ain't gonna be calling about. He's not gonna focus on calling out the racial injustice or the imbalance or that she only got 6 years. He's going to trust me. I already know with his live stream, he's going to shift the focus. Tariq Nasheed is going to shift the focus on how this stuff only happened to these tethers. This stuff is only tethers that let women do this to them and talk about the sisters like that. You know how he gonna do? He's gonna shift. He's gonna talk about briefly this white girl getting off, but it's going to be shifted on to how this man was stupid and he was a tether and clueless and this wouldn't have happened to an FBA or whatever. I know what's gonna happen. I already know. But what's interesting, because I'm like, wait a minute, I know she didn't, but I see how people can now create these with AI and everything. I still don't know how they do it, and I'm not fond of AI, so I try not to use it and create my thumbnails. So I had to look. I said, did she actually, did she actually look like that in court? Now I couldn't find pictures of her doing the OK symbol. Yet and still, and look at the sister here. She like, she did, but she gotta do her job. Yet and still, I'm finding pictures like this though. Now I couldn't find her like with the little smirk, but what is this? So these are real pictures right here? Wow, she don't look very phased. She don't look very. See, they like that picture, I'm sure, of Karmelo Anthony with his head like shaving low and looking really sad and depressed. I'm sure they love seeing that. But yeah, it is kind of disturbing. What is this? Was she blowing a kiss to somebody? Right. Yeah, this is kind of disturbing. Like I remember that in the '90s, and that used to kind of irk me though with Tupac Shakur when he would, because I'm like, brother, this is serious. When they would show him strutting into the courtroom, like he's not phased. Like they really hated when Michael Jackson, after like during the time of his trial, he got on the car dancing because they wanted to see Michael Jackson straight broken. They loved that mug shot. That's how they wanted to see Michael Jackson. Just like how they wanted to see Bill Cosby. They did not like when Michael Jackson, around the time of his trial and he was dancing on. Oh, they hated that. They wanted to see a Negro broken. And I'm sure they liked seeing that picture with Carmelo Anthony's head shaven. And that was one thing. Like you'll see these pictures of our people when we were these artistic renderings, if you will, or these sketches, those old sketches of our people in chains or enslaved, and and they would be naked, and all of them would have like really, really short hair, male and female. So it had give you this idea that they captured us or kidnapped us and we were running around naked or nothing but like a loincloth. No, what you don't realize is it was custom for them to strip us of our clothes and cut our hair off. That was custom. A lot of people don't realize that. But it gives you an impression, it makes you believe that we were just, that's how we were walking around anyway. Not saying that that's necessarily wrong or bad. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I recall the little footage of her being an aggressor with that guy. Yes, and I do know about what he had said on black women. I'm trying not to focus on that because he's gone now. You know, and also consideration of his family. But yeah, I didn't quite find her doing okay, even though she does look, like I'll be good. It's cool. But and that's the thing too, when people take these pleas, because I did see this one thing on Netflix on these college murders, these white kids that was, yeah, the white guy and taking a plea deal. They didn't get to hear what he had to say, and I do feel like it can kind of be like unjust to the surviving family of those who were taken out, that they don't get to hear what this animal has to say when they take these plea deals. It's just okay. I'm guilty. All right, but I did it, but I ain't got to explain nothing. But yeah, considering what Tariq Nasheed is showing in the Okay, can you guys hear me? Sorry about that. Yeah, the weather. Yeah, it's dark out here. Like I said, I knew that was the last day for the beach. Yeah, it's back in. Yeah.
It's a tornado. That's
What?
yeah. It's a
Yeah, I see the. Hold on, let me see. I see the. Well, I got the microphone on just for the
yes.
noise.
People that I know, I told them to watch out, and they're at the job. They're saying that
Yeah.
they're in a tornado shelter thing because I guess out there
Wow.
it's get kind of bad because the sky is completely black.
Yeah, I see. I see. I'm looking through the. I'm looking through the. Wow.
Yeah, like out in the front.
Yeah, it's raining. It's pretty dark out here. Yeah. So yeah, I may have to go ahead and shut this down. But
I had turned off some of the lights.
sorry about that. That's my husband. Yeah, sorry about that. Cause I was trying to and I can't get into that one YouTube app on my phone either. Oh man. Oh, I forgot to tell my husband. My brother tried to contact him. Give me a second, y'all. Sorry about that. Forgot to tell you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to tell my husband. Oh, I forgot my brother. My husband, got up late. Tried to tell him my brother called him. Oh, I totally forgot. It was like 7:30 this morning, but my husband was still asleep. Um, yeah. Let me see. We cannot mention the Carmel without mentioning that Austin was arrested for doing. Wow. Oh my God. So there was. Yeah, I know you mean graffiti. I know that's what you mean all over Frisco. Wow. But thanks for telling me all of this, y'all. Thanks for putting me up on all of this. Yeah. Still, I'm still, it's not even just about Austin Metcalf, but me not wanting him to be dead necessarily, you know. But it's also about when I'm looking at, because it seemed like Carmelo Anthony was, could have had like a brighter future. You know what I'm saying? So I do want us to consider. Of course, we want our children to know that they need to defend themselves and protect themselves. But I just when I see the out, when I know the outcome, and of course, it's hard for me to see him in the mugshot like that, looking, and I did, looking down like that. But I don't want us taking on this mentality that, like, okay, if they could, oh boy, it's hard to say because I don't want y'all to offend anyone. I don't want us feeling like, okay, well, if this is what Zimmerman do and they say it's self-defense, then this is. I'm not saying that he is Zimmerman. Okay, Zimmerman wanted a reason to take somebody's life. Okay, that's very obvious. Okay, but I do want our kids, our young people, to really, really, really consider if it means, even if it means just walking away, avoiding altogether. And I know it sounds like, well, why should we have to do this? If he had a right to be in the tent regardless or whatever. Just it's like we have to be totally sober. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me shut this down before I'm not able to shut it down. Because yeah, that's the thing. It's hard for me to get into StreamYard on my phone because I ain't got it on. Yeah, so let me go ahead and shut this down. But like I said, yeah, I do think that Tariq Nasheed, yeah, with him having her, I think he knows what he's doing, and having Courtney Klenney in the thumbnail, he's got her doing the OK symbol in the thumbnail, which also is a symbol. You know what I talked about in my video on in my video or in my live stream on Doja Cat. Let me see, because let go ahead and end this right now while yeah, like he's like basically like saying I made a bitch out of you know what I'm saying, like a disrespect, the symbol of sodomy, like a disrespect to black men. And it'd be interesting how he's going to spin this. But anyways, yeah, of course, the sentencing, there's a bias. There's definitely a racial bias in the responses to this, absolutely, and in the sentencing and everything. But I do want us to use more wisdom. However, we're gonna have to use more discernment in how we act and react in certain situations, really. And this is why it's even more so important that we get with our people, all our people throughout the diaspora, and come together and stop trying to be like or be with. And I'm not saying that we can't be friendly with people, we can't be cordial. I'm not saying that we can't, but it's even more so now that we come together as a community. You understand what I'm saying? And there are some people feel that if they move into this area, a whiter neighborhood, this is safer, this is better. But we see that that's not necessarily the case. So let me shut this down before the power goes out once again. Yeah, or the internet connection goes out once again. So hopefully the power won't go out, but yeah, we also got a flood warning in Chicago. So I'll get back to y'all on that. So enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and love, family.